Hi, I'm Sandy Allnock, and I'm going to show you today how to make a Christmas card using Copic Resist. Now, many of you may have already done Resist using other ink mediums, but I want to show you how to do it with Copics, especially if you have a limited color selection. I'm going to use colors that I picked specifically because they don't completely go together, a couple of reds and a couple of greens, and show you how you can help these marker colors to blend so that the overall look blends even if you don't have all the colors in between to get something to match. I'm going to use this Winter Wishes Operation Right Home fundraiser set, and specifically going to start with the snowflakes, and we're going to use some of the other elements in the stamp set as well. I'm going to stamp it onto a 2x5 piece of cardstock, and I've got both of them on the block together because I'm going to stamp them at the same time to save myself some time. And if you're making a lot of Christmas cards and you want to create a panel like this, might help to do two at once. I'm stamping them with Versamark, my well-used pad. And I'm going to link you at the end to a tutorial by somebody else on how to do embossing, because I'm not going to cover that here. But in case you haven't done it before, I've used my clear embossing powder and heat set it already. So now I'm just going to color it with my Copic markers. I have this piece already mounted on some black cardstock because that's just going to hold it flat, because after I embossed it with the heat gun, it got a little bit curled, and it's going to be easier to color when it's flat. So I'm starting with my dark red color, R89, and I colored the very bottom and went in with the R56 and colored over top of that. And now I'm adding some of the pink color. And so if you don't have colors that work together, you can start using some of these techniques to get your colors to blend. I just colored over top of some of the area where one color met the other, and I'm going to go back in and do more. And this light color, this light green color, doesn't go at all with these medium and dark colors. So I picked that one especially as an example to be able to show you how you can start blending colors that don't necessarily go together, because I know a lot of people don't have a full Copic marker collection. Adding my next colors, and I'm rotating back now. I went to the dark and now I went to the medium green. And I'm just adding a little bit more where the dark and the medium blend. I'm going to do a lot more blending as we go along, but I'm just doing a little bit as I go. And now the crazy bright green color. Next, I'm going to go back to the pink, and we're going to rotate back toward the dark red again. So we'll have the medium next, and the very end is going to be that R89 again with the dark red side. Next, we're going to go through and start really trying to blend. You can see that the resist is already working. The snowflakes are showing through, but I'm going to start going in now with my medium red marker and pulling some of that red, the dark red, down into the snowflake panel. And now I'm going to pull it in further with the pink. And the pink, you can see, is going over top of that green. So even though it might freak people out a little bit, you just can go over top of those colors with no problem, and you're going to make sort of a purple-ish kind of color where the green and the pink touch each other. And so now I'm going back in with the green and dragging more color over top of it. That's my light green. I'm just pulling some of the greens into that red area, and now I'm dragging the dark greens back down toward the next section that I'm going to be blending. And you can go over this as many times as you want. It's great practice for blending because you've got these snowflakes breaking things up. So if you're not really good at making the areas blend, you only have the little spots in between where you can see the actual blending that you need to really work on. And you can also see, as I'm going in here with the pink, if I color over top of where the embossing is, it's starting to pull the color off of there. So next I'm adding a little bit of green inside the snowflakes that are in the red area, and I'm going to add reds and pinks in the area where it's green. And right now it looks like big giant dots, but I'm going to soften that with the light pink and blend that out just a little bit because I don't want big giant pink dots in the middle of my snowflakes. But you can go over this a whole bunch of times and test out which colors work. And then I'm going to blend that out even further with the green, so I just get a little flavor of that green in where the snowflakes are. And as it dries, you'll see whether the colors are blending really well or not, so you can go back in and reblend as you go along. So now I'm adding more green into the red snowflake area. And I'll just keep going through this repeatedly. It took me quite a while to figure out exactly how far to go before I decided to stop. But it's one of those things I can see working really well with flowers for spring and hearts, all sorts of really fun different kinds of stamps that you can use to create this little fun background panel. And for Christmas cards, this works great because it's just a tiny panel on a card, so you can get a whole bunch of these done and practice your coloring all at the same time. Now you can see my pink pen looks like it's destroyed, right? It's got a little green on the tip and it looks all weird, and the color is actually going to be kind of a funky pink. It's not the pink it's supposed to be. But all you have to do is scribble it a little bit and you will see that the tip will restore completely and perfectly to the nice clean pink tip that it was when I started. So this is one way you can actually use markers to their best effect, is allowing them to blend each other without messing up your markers. So next I'm going to create the banner that's going to go across the top. I'm going to use the All I Want Is You sentiment for the outside. I love this font. I love stamps that have a straight font and a curly font together. Really playful. And I want to put my snowman on the front of the card. I'm going to cut him out, but I want his arms to be there and I don't want to have to cut his little arms out. So I'm going to stamp him where he's going to go on the card so that his little arms are there and I don't have to add them. So now I'll take another piece of paper that I'm going to color on and I'm going to stamp him for coloring purposes. I'm using Memento ink. That works great with Copic markers. Now to color him, I'm going to use the same reds that I used on the panel already. So the R89 around the areas where there would be shadow, which would be on the sides and underneath where the scarf ties on him. And I'm just going to fill in the rest with a solid bit of the R56 color. I'm going to color in his nose with a little orange, so he has a little carrot nose. And now I'm going to do the shading around him. Now you don't have to color snowmen at all because they are white, but I always like to add a little bit of interest to them. So I'm coloring underneath where shadows would fall, which would be at the bottom side of the snowman. And I did that with my C4. You can go with a lighter color if that bothers you to use something so dark. But when I go over it with the C00 and start pulling that color, then it works really well to blend the two of them that way. I'm going outside the lines because I'm going to fussy cut this, which kind of saves my bacon. I don't have to worry about whether my colors are going to bleed or not. So here I am adding more to the underside of his chin, and you notice there's also some under his hat because his hat would have a shadow under it, and underneath of his nose. Super easy to color. Next comes the fussy cutting. Now I don't know if there's a name for fussy cutting other than fussy cutting, because that's what I call it. But some people have told me they find that a negative word, and I happen to love cutting out little images or little embellishments to go on my cards. My blog is called I Can't Stop Embellishing. That would be because I love embellishments. I love having fancy details on a card. And cutting out an image is just one way to get it without adding a whole bunch to a card. But when you have all kinds of detailed edges, it really adds a lot of interest to it without adding more elements, and especially things that'll get stuck in the mail and that sort of thing. Now to make the banner, I learned this from a video over on Lawn Fawn recently. I used to cut them by hand, and now this is so easy. Cut down the center and make a notch, and then go from your corners into the middle. How easy is that? Snip, snip, snip. Now I'm adding the panel that's already been layered onto that black cardstock onto my craft card base, and adhere that with some ATG tape. And now the banner is going to go on with some dimensional adhesive underneath of it. You can see my little snowman there. Now I have ATG tape under his body and a little dimensional under his hat, so his hat is popped and the rest of him just meets the banner that he's sitting on top of. The last touch I need to add to this, since it's bling month on Hero Arts, is a little bit of bling. I'm just going to add some bling to each of the snowflakes, and doing that with some tweezers to save my fingers the extra work. Here is my finished card. Really festive, fun, clean and simple. You get a lot of wow for it with that background. Lots of fun. You can see the snowman here is in place. His arms are intact, and I didn't have to sit and draw them on because I already stamped them onto that panel. And then on the inside of the card, I added the second part of the sentiment, and yes, I did chop my sentiments up so that I could have the For Christmas as the inside sentiment. Thank you so much for taking a moment to watch this video. If you enjoyed it, please click the like button down below. You can hit subscribe up above to get lots more great ideas from Hero Arts. You can click right here on my face to subscribe to my channel. And I'd love for you to leave me a comment and tell me what stamps you have in your collection that you think would make a great panel like this for embossing and resisting with whatever medium you choose to do it with. Thank you so much, and have a really Merry Christmas.